In a stunning turn of events that has left the entire Chinese entertainment industry reeling, beloved actress Tan Songyun found herself in the middle of a terrifying crisis that would test not just her resilience, but also reveal the depth of her relationship with fellow actor Soo Kai. The question on everyone's lips right now is simple yet explosive. Why did Tan Songyun's first instinct in her moment of crisis involve calling Soo Kai? What does this emergency phone call reveal about their relationship that fans have been speculating about for years? And more importantly, what exactly caused the devastating fire that has now become the talk of the entertainment world? The shocking incident unfolded in the early hours when flames tore through Tan Songyun's personal recording studio, a space she had carefully curated over the years as her creative sanctuary. Sources close to the situation report that Soo Kai's reaction to receiving the distress call was nothing short of visceral panic. Witnesses who were present during the immediate aftermath describe a scene of absolute chaos, with emergency services scrambling to contain the blaze while the entertainment community held its collective breath, waiting for news about the extent of the damage and, more critically, whether anyone was injured in the inferno. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn that has social media absolutely exploding with theories and speculation. Despite having access to professional cleaning services, emergency response teams, and an entire network of industry connections, Tan Songyun reached out specifically to Soo Kai. Not to her management team, not to her family first, but to Soo Kai. The implications of this choice have sent shockwaves through fan communities, with some celebrating what they see as confirmation of a deeper bond, while others question whether there's more to this story than meets the eye. What could possibly compel someone in such a traumatic situation to make that specific call? And what does Soo Kai's immediate response tell us about the nature of their relationship? The fire itself remains shrouded in mystery, with authorities still investigating the cause of the blaze that threatened to destroy years of Tan Songyun's creative work. Early reports indicate that while significant portions of the studio were damaged, some equipment miraculously survived the flames relatively intact. This detail has sparked its own set of questions among investigators and fans alike. Was this a case of faulty electrical wiring? Could there have been an accelerant involved? Or is there a more sinister explanation that authorities are not yet ready to reveal to the public? The desperate phone call that changed everything. What did Tan Songyun say to Soo Kai? According to exclusive information obtained from sources close to both actors, the phone call that would bring Soo Kai racing to the scene was made in a state of absolute distress. Imagine receiving a call in the middle of your day from someone whose voice is trembling with shock and fear. That's exactly what Soo Kai experienced when his phone rang with Tan Songyun's name flashing on the screen. Those who know Soo Kai describe him as typically composed and professional, someone who maintains his cool even under the intense pressure of the entertainment industry. But this call shattered that composure completely. Insiders reveal that Tan Songyun's voice was barely recognizable, choked with emotion as she explained the situation. The recording studio where she had spent countless hours perfecting her craft, recording voiceovers for her projects, and even working on rumored music projects that have never been publicly announced, was burning. The space that represented so much of her artistic identity and future ambitions was being consumed by flames. But what makes this phone call even more intriguing is what she reportedly said during those crucial moments. According to sources who have heard accounts of the conversation, Tan Songyun didn't just inform Soo Kai about the fire. She specifically asked for his help, his presence, his support in a way that suggests a level of trust and intimacy that goes beyond typical colleague relationships in the industry. The timing of the call itself raises fascinating questions. Entertainment industry analysts who have been following both actors' careers closely point out that Soo Kai was reportedly in the middle of his own professional commitments when he received the call. Yet, without hesitation, he dropped everything to respond to Tan Songyun's plea for help. This kind of immediate, unconditional response is not something typically seen between casual acquaintances or even regular co-stars. It speaks to something deeper, something that has fans and industry insiders alike desperate to understand the true nature of their connection. What could have been going through Tan Songyun's mind in those chaotic moments when she decided to reach out to Soo Kai? Psychologists who specialize in crisis behavior explain that during traumatic events, people instinctively reach out to those they trust most deeply, those who represent safety and support in their lives. The fact that Soo Kai was among her first calls, if not the very first, speaks volumes about his importance in her life. But it also raises uncomfortable questions for those who have followed both actors' public personas. Have they been hiding the true depth of their relationship from the public? Is there a reason why this connection has been kept relatively private despite their obvious chemistry on screen? The panic that gripped Soo Kai upon receiving this call was reportedly visible to everyone around him. Colleagues present at the time describe how his entire demeanor changed in an instant. The color drained from his face, his hands began to shake, and without offering much explanation to those around him, he immediately began making arrangements to get to the studio as quickly as possible. This level of emotional response doesn't happen unless someone truly cares deeply about the person on the other end of that phone call. It's the kind of raw, unfiltered reaction that reveals truths that carefully managed public images usually conceal. The fire that devastated Tan Songyun's recording studio didn't just appear out of nowhere. According to fire department reports and witness testimonies, the first signs of trouble emerged when neighbors in the building noticed an unusual smell emanating from the studio space. This detail alone has sparked intense speculation about the potential cause of the fire. Was there a chemical component involved? Had someone been using materials or equipment in ways they shouldn't have been? Or was this truly an accident waiting to happen in a space that may have had underlying safety issues? Witnesses describe seeing smoke beginning to seep from under the studio door approximately 30 minutes before the flames became visible. This timeline is crucial because it suggests that whatever ignited the fire had been smoldering for some time before erupting into the full-blown blaze that would eventually require multiple fire crews to contain. Fire safety experts who have reviewed the available information about the incident note that this pattern of slow ignition followed by rapid escalation is consistent with certain types of electrical failures, but it could also indicate other causes that investigators are likely exploring. When firefighters first arrived on the scene, they were met with a challenging situation. The studio, located in a building that houses multiple creative spaces and small businesses, presented risks of the fire spreading to neighboring units. The decision to evacuate the entire building was made swiftly, with dozens of people forced to flee their workspaces as smoke began filling hallways and stairwells. The chaos of the evacuation itself created scenes of panic, with valuable equipment, personal belongings, and years of work left behind as people prioritized their safety. Inside Tan Songyun's studio, the flames were working their destructive magic. Recording equipment worth tens of thousands of dollars, irreplaceable recordings, and personal items that held sentimental value were all at risk. But here's where the story takes an almost miraculous turn that has some people questioning whether luck played a role, or if there's more to this story. Despite the intensity of the blaze, certain sections of the studio survived with minimal damage. High-end microphones, a custom-built recording booth, and digital storage systems that contained years of Tan Songyun's work somehow escaped the worst of the flames. Fire investigators who examined the scene in the immediate aftermath found this pattern of damage puzzling. Typically, fires of this intensity and duration would be expected to cause more uniform destruction. The fact that some areas were devastated while others remained relatively untouched has led to various theories. Some experts suggest that the layout of the studio and the presence of fire-resistant materials in certain areas may have created natural barriers that protected some equipment. Others aren't so sure, pointing out inconsistencies in the burn patterns that warrant deeper investigation. The cause of the fire remains officially undetermined, a fact that has only intensified public speculation and concern. Fire department officials have stated that their investigation is ongoing, and that they are exploring multiple potential causes. However, the lack of immediate answers has created a vacuum that rumors and theories have rushed to fill. Some online commentators have suggested everything from arson to insurance fraud, though there is absolutely no evidence to support such serious allegations. Others have focused on more mundane but equally concerning possibilities: faulty wiring, overloaded circuits, or malfunctioning equipment left unattended. What makes the investigation even more complex is the nature of recording studios themselves. These spaces typically contain numerous electronic devices, many of which are running for extended periods. There are power supplies, amplifiers, computers, lighting systems, and climate control equipment, all operating simultaneously. Any one of these systems could potentially fail in ways that create fire hazards. Additionally, recording studios often contain acoustic treatments, soundproofing materials, and cables, materials that can be highly flammable under the right conditions. Sukai's dramatic response. Racing against time to support Tan Songyun the moment Sukai received that fateful phone call from Tan Songyun, his world essentially stopped. Everything else became secondary to getting to her side as quickly as possible. Sources who witnessed his departure describe a man transformed by urgency and concern. He didn't wait for his driver or his management team to organize transportation. Instead, he took matters into his own hands, determined to reach Tan Songyun without any delays that might come from coordinating with others. The journey to the studio became its own dramatic chapter in this unfolding story. Sukai's panic was evident not just in his expression but in his actions. Those who saw him during this time report that he was constantly on his phone, presumably trying to get updates about the situation and Tan Songyun's condition.